All right, so it's been a little over a month since the release of the Reebok Nano X1s, and the big question that needs answered is, are they still worth it? Stick around for today's video to find out my thoughts. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Excellence in Motion. Today's episode is focused on answering the question whether or not the Nano X1 is still worth buying a month later after its release. There's been a lot of mixed feelings around the shoe itself since its inception. A lot of people love it. Some people have some different opinions, and I'm definitely one of those. And the goal of today's video is just to share my experience with the shoe over the last month, to give you some insights on what I like about it, what I don't like about it, so hopefully you can make a smart decision moving forward. If we're just meeting for the first time, my name is Caden, and I do videos on health education, movement tips, and fitness gear reviews just like this one. So if that stuff interests you, please consider hitting that subscribe button so that you can be notified every single time a video uploads. If you guys haven't already watched my first impressions video for the Nano X1, go ahead and click up here to check that out, or you can look down in the description and click on that link after today's video is over with. All right, let's get right down to it. The Reebok Nano X1, or the Nano 11, depending on how you want to say it, is the 11th version of Reebok's popular training shoe, the Reebok Nano. Traditionally, the Nano has been tied very closely to the CrossFit community, and in recent years, since the split of the partnership between the CrossFit Games and Reebok, Reebok has decided to go in their own direction for how they want to mold the shoe and design the shoe to fit a broader range of exercise enthusiasts and athletes so that they can brand it now as the official shoe of fitness. Whether or not they've achieved the official shoe of fitness title is completely up to the consumer. And in my experience so far, I might be questioning that a little bit. For those of you who know me, I'm a huge Reebok Nano fan. I have tons of pairs. I love training in the Reebok Nano, especially compared to other brands that just don't fit my foot very well. And I do like this shoe, but there are some things about it that are a little iffy for me that kind of lean me towards the direction of not really considering this the official shoe of fitness right now. Let's just start off with the things that I really like about this shoe. One of my favorite components about the Reebok Nano X1 is how lightweight it is. The material that the shoe is built out of is this nice mesh upper that is super light and makes the shoe almost feel like a feather. I have had absolutely no issues with using this shoe for plyometrics and running and lots of movements that require me to feel like I have a lighter foot. It's really comfortable, it moves well with my foot, and I really like that aspect of it. The other thing that I really like about this shoe is it's actually one of the best shoes that I've worn from the Nano lineup for running. This thing is super lightweight. The float ride technology that they put in the base of the shoe is extremely responsive on pavement, and it feels great to run around in.
Okay, so I just went on a brief 200-meter run with the Nano 11s on, and they feel really good. They're light, they have good cushion. The float ride technology that's in the base of the shoe is really, really comfortable. I probably need to tighten my shoes a little bit, my skinny feet moving around on the inside, but overall, I would say for utilizing this shoe for shorter distances in CrossFit workouts, it's gonna feel really, really good. It's probably not something that I would use for anything over a mile. If you're gonna be going long distance, you'd probably do better with something more like a Noble runner or any other dedicated running shoe. But for 200 meters, 400 meters, 800s, a mile, that kind of stuff, this shoe's gonna actually work out pretty well. I'm actually pretty impressed, especially compared to some previous generations where they've been a little bit clunky. This one actually works really well for running, especially with it being so light.
Another thing that I really like about the Nano X1 is the style. I think this is one of the best looking Nanos that they've made in recent years, and it's super nice to be able to just throw these on with a pair of joggers or some jeans and wear them around wherever I'm going, whatever I'm doing, and I know I'm gonna have a really comfortable shoe on my foot that looks really good as well. A bonus point to make about this shoe is the design that they have for climbing ropes on the middle. I really enjoy how this kind of flares out on the bottom, and I imagine that that gives really good contact on a rope for rope climbs. I just didn't test any rope climbs because these are white shoes and I don't really feel like getting them all dirty from a rope. Guys see all that red on my face? That's from the CrossFit Open workout 21.1. bunch of wall walks, a bunch of pressure built up in my head, and look at that, I bruised myself. Who knew wall walks were so hard? Now for the few things that I don't quite like about the shoe and how they contribute to me not necessarily enjoying this as much as an all-around training shoe and not giving it that title of the official shoe of fitness. One of my biggest complaints about this shoe, and it might seem a little bit strange and weird to a lot of you, but the tongue is pretty flimsy. I don't know if you can tell based on this angle, but that tongue is super floppy and flimsy. And in a couple of these clips that you're seeing on the screen, you notice that it tends to want to slide around to the side of the shoe. For me personally, when I'm training, I hate having my tongue slide over onto the side of the shoe. It kind of feels weird on my foot. I feel like I'm always having to fidget around to move it back and to make it more comfortable. This is just something that for me, based on the design of the shoe, they could have included a nice little loop in the center of the tongue so that the laces can hold it down and keep it in place. But maybe that's just me. That's something small that I've noticed that actually does quite annoy me when I'm using the shoe in workouts. The other thing that I did notice about the Nano X1 compared to the previous Nano X is that it is a little bit more narrow in the shoe base. When comparing the Nano X to the Nano X1, you can see that there's a small difference in the width of the shoe on the base, and I actually do notice this a little bit when I'm training with the shoe. My foot tends to want to stick out near the end of the fifth metatarsal, and that creates pressure points for me. It's one of the reasons why I didn't really enjoy the Nano 2, based on where the materials lined up together. It just created a lot of pressure on my foot.
All right, team, so I just got back from a running workout, and I want to point something out about the shoes that, depending on what type of foot you have, might be an issue. So check this out. So, depending on what type of foot you have, mine tends to have this little piece sort of poke out on the edges. I just have a really weird shaped foot. So if you're someone who struggles with wide feet and you like the Nanos in the past because they tend to be wider in the toe box, these might be a little bit different. There's a little bit of a narrowness to the shoe where, I don't know if you can tell, but my foot starts to sort of poke out on the edges of the fabric. I can try to roll it back in, but after moving around, it really starts to poke, and that's kind of a trouble spot for me. So if you have really wide feet, this might be something that aggravates you. I'm not sure if it will or not, and it also depends on the fabric in the shoe as well. To be completely honest, it's not the worst thing in the world, but if you're someone who really does have wide feet in the forefoot, this might be something that's a little bit uncomfortable for you, and it's definitely worth trying out to see if you like or not.
The last thing that I thought might have been a bigger issue than it actually was the design of this heel counter on the shoe. Initially putting the shoe on, I felt like this hard piece right here towards the heel cup was gonna rub really hard onto my Achilles tendon if I wore short socks. To my surprise, it wasn't really that big of an issue, but I did notice how much more firm that portion of the shoe is compared to the previous version. The Nano 10s had a really nice, soft, plushy backside to the shoe, which felt great no matter if I was wearing tall socks or short socks. And I felt like my foot was very secure in the shoe and wasn't gonna move around too much. In the Nano 11s, if I'm moving around side to side or I'm jumping up and down, I do feel like there's a tad bit of instability around the ankle. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of no bulls, which for my foot are not a good training shoe. So if you're worried about this being a little bit too wobbly based on the design of the shoe, that might be something for you to keep in mind before you decide if you want to buy one or not. All around, I think the Nano X1 is actually a fantastic shoe. It's not my favorite of the Nanos. I'm gonna have to give that title to the Nano X. The design, the comfort, the durability of that shoe compared to this one is just top notch. But you won't be disappointed if you purchase a Nano X1, especially if you get one of the grit versions of the shoe, which is a little bit more rough on the outside. This mesh upper on the original X1 is said to be tough and durable. I haven't tested it in those conditions, so I can't really speak to the durability of the shoe itself, but it is comfortable. It is just a little bit more narrow and a little bit less secure on the foot for my liking. As for the official shoe of fitness, I'm not really gonna give that title to this one quite yet. Maybe next year they'll make some improvements to the shoe and it can earn that title a little bit, but I think I'm gonna strip it from the X1 and place it on the X for now. So that's it, guys. Those are my quick thoughts on the Nano X1. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and dropping a like, and leave in the comments what are your favorite Nanos and are you planning to pick up the Nano X1? If you want to see more videos like this one, make sure you click over here. And until next time, do good things and don't forget to move. I'll see you guys later. Oh, before you guys go, one last thing. Reebok always has sales, so if you don't want to commit to purchasing the Reebok X1 right now, just wait till October. It's going to be 60% off at some point. Unlike CrossFit's new title sponsor, Noble, these things will get cheaper, so don't worry.